to the kingdom of Israel! Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The book of Psalms, chapter 16 and verse 11. It says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life." So we're on the path of life. The path of life leads to paradise. The path of life leads to glory, which the glory is the kingdom of heaven. And we're on that path of life. We're walking on the path of the tree of life to gain eternal life.
Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not. Knew that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass, which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
To eternal peace and joy.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Makakwadash. And the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and this sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Makakwadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers and listeners whom I came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what we're going to get into, with this live stream, is dealing with Ahaz to bring the hammer. He's losing ground. Okay, so Esau Edom, he's going to have to shift into another gear. All right, and it's the Lord that's pressing, all right, Esau Edom to make his move, because the Lord is ready for Esau, all right, to meet his end. The Lord is packing Esau up, man. Okay, the Lord is putting pressure on Esau. which is going to cause Esau to have to put pressure on the world, okay, and go ahead and come on with crisis, with more crisis and his mandate, okay, because basically that's what this devil has to do. He has to come on with all these crises and get the world, all right, especially in America, in a position of desperation, so he can bring about this sea hill, man, okay, because as this thing drags out, more people, are exposing the AI for being hype. Okay, people are having to start them back, hire humans back to the job that AI was supposed to do. So his whole agenda is starting to unravel in certain places, man. Okay, so this devil gonna have to come on with it. He gonna have to get on the good foot, okay, and really make his move. And he's just gonna have to come with their hammer and the mandates. Okay, so let's get a few precepts. It's beautiful that the Lord got us watching these niggas fall, man. The Lord got us watching Esau, Edom, okay, fall apart. Okay, and this new world order is going to be a last ditch effort for him to try to hold on to power. Okay, and he's going to fail at that. You see, and that's why the scriptures is known as the comforter, because it's a comfort knowing that this nigga lose, man. Okay, that he has no possibility, no chance, okay, to pull off what he's trying to do. Okay, now when you go to Psalm 37:4, it says, wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land, because he's finna exalt his elect. Yahweh Shai is going to come, okay, and Yahweh Shai is going to deliver a remnant, okay, and that remnant under Yahweh Shai is going to be placed in the earth to rule the earth in righteousness, man. Because Yahweh Shai is going to get his glory. The Heavenly Father and Yahweh Shai, they're going to get their glory through the judgment. The scripture speaks about how the Lord is known by his judgment. And that's why he has Esau, okay, running to judgment, man. Okay, and he's even put more pressure on this devil to come on with it. See, it's the Lord, all right, that got his foot on the gas of this prophecy, man. Okay, and it's bringing, the scripture says, it's bringing him to the king of terrors, man. Okay, which ultimately is Yahweh Shai. You see, but the Lord is ready for the kingdom to change from Esau to Jacob. Okay, and the Lord is bound to his word. So there's things that have to play out. Okay, and one of the main things that this devil is going to bring, the crisis, which is going to be Jacob's trouble, the civil unrest, okay, the famine, the pestilence, okay, and then he's going to present, all right, the sea hill, the technocracy as a fix-all, okay, and it's going to get to the point he's going to mandate it to where you have to have it, and it's going to get to the point where it's punishable by death, okay, and what you're going to have, some believers be beheaded for the sake of prophecy, man, but then you're going to have a standard lifted, okay, and eventually Yahweh Shai going to return, man, okay, so it says, wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he will exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. Okay, so there's no doubt that this is going to happen in our lifetime. Okay, there's no doubt, man, that we're going to see Esau removed from power in our lifetime. We're going to see it, and we're seeing this nigga slipping and falling now, man, stumbling, tacky. Okay, certain things backfire on this nigga. He's going backwards in certain things, man. And it's a beautiful thing that the Lord has us witnessing this, man. Front row seats, man, to see the fall of our enemy, man. Okay, verse 35, I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree. Okay, so this devil, has been allowed to rule and prosper his wickedness, man. He's been able to achieve a lot of his agenda on the left-hand side. Okay, and wickedness, man, the Lord has allowed this man to prosper. Okay, this man came a long way from the caves, man, to where he's at now, to having a global empire. Esau has a global empire, which that's what he was blessed with. Okay, but it will be temporal. All right, and the Lord promised that he would destroy Esau's empire. Okay, and now we are at the point to where this devil, he's at the position to where he doesn't have many moves left. Because once he bring about these crises, Because the Lord wants him to do that. Because the Lord wants to use Esau. The Lord is going to use. Okay? The Lord is going to use Esau, all right, to judge, for mass judgment on the left-hand side. Okay? So the Lord's going to allow Esau to bring about these certain crises, man. So he can try to go with his move or order out of chaos. Okay? So this man has been able to spread himself, to where he has a footprint throughout the globe. Okay? That's why Esau has global ambitions in bringing about a global government through technology, man. Because he's been able to spread himself, okay, like a Green Bay tree in the world. Okay? He overshadows Esau's influence, these elites. They overshadow all the governments of the world. Like a tree will have, it will have, it will throw off a massive, shadow covering. Well, this nigga's, all right, economy, mainly his economy, overshadows all these governments, man. Okay? It said, yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yeah, I saw him, but he could not be found. So he spread him, the Lord allowed him to be spread throughout the earth. His power, his influence is spread throughout the earth. Okay? But then it reads as if, okay, that power was cut off, as if it never existed, man. Okay? And this is what Esau is walking up on, man. Okay? Like I said, the Lord is bringing Esau to the king of terrors. So here it is. He has all this influence and sway and technology and his economy and military and his culture and, his enchantments. They cover the earth. Okay? But the Lord's going to make a swift end to this man's rulership, man. And after a while, it's going to be like this nigga was never in power, man. So this is we in some beautiful times, man, that the Lord got us right here witnessing this transition. Okay? Matter of fact, let's get that in Luke, and then we'll get that in Job, and then we'll go to a couple videos. So when you get this in the book of Luke, I believe it's chapter 10. All right. Yeah, let's go to the book of Luke, chapter 10, in verses start at 23. Luke 10 and 23, it says, he turned him unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that you see. Okay? Blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. Okay? And we're here in this time to see the Lord get ready to remove Esau from power real time, man. Blessed are our eyes, man. We get to see it. And even those that have to be martyrs, the believers that are martyrs, they're going to see America destroyed on their chariot, man. Okay, they coming back with skybox. They're coming back with skybox. All right, seats to watch America destruction, man. And we're going to join them in the air. Our brothers are we of that number. You see, it says he turned him unto his disciples and said privately, blessed are the eyes which see the things that ye see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear and have not heard them. Because the prophets spoke on these things from the beginning. Where we at now, this time was spoken of from the beginning. Even Enoch, they spoke about how he seen the second coming of Yahushua. He seen the Lord. Okay. What you say? Matter of fact, let's get that. Enoch spoke of the second coming in the beginning. So when you go to Jude, I want to butcher it. Okay. So you go to the book of Jude. Yep, Jude 1:14 says, Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, behold, the Lord come with 10,000 of his saints. So that's Yahushua, that second coming, those chariots. Okay? Because what is he coming to do? Verse 15, to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Man, that's heavy. I ain't read that in a while. You know, let me read that again. Verse 15 said, to execute judgment upon all and to convince all that are ungodly among them of their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Okay, because this world is very anti-Messiah and it's very out of pocket, man. They're not only this society rebellious, but they're proud in their rebellion, man. You know, and Yahweh Shai, he's coming to show that there is a judgment for wickedness, man. Okay, and this thing, Yahweh Shai is going to show it's a judge over Esau. Because a lot of people think judgment starts and stops with Esau. That's why when Esau gives people the green light to do wickedness, man, they feel secure. Okay, in their rebellion, they get proudful, man, because if they look at Esau as the head honcho, but they're gonna see in that day that no, it's a judge that's over Esau. Okay, Yahweh Shai is coming back to judge Esau, man. You see, and all this ungodliness that this man has provoked in the world. Okay, so there's a global judgment coming. You see, so Esau, pity patting, dragging his feet. All right, because this devil, he feels that this devil feels. In fact, let's get that in Job. All right, because this word is getting to him. You see, because everything that the Lord has the prophet speaking upon is coming to pass, man. And this devil has no other options but to do what the scriptures say he's going to do. Okay, and everything is in the Lord's time. All right, but the Lord gonna have this nigga so frustrated, man, that he's just gonna lose it. Okay, and he's gonna bring him to the King of Terrors. St. John chapter 14. That's like tripping. This is the book of Job, chapter 18, verse I started. Yep, I started 14. I read 14, get to the point. It says his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle. Yeah. Because his devil is used to achieving, his agenda. Okay. But he's coming to a point to where he's not able to do everything he wants to do. And he sees that he's limited. There's another thing. The devil sees that he's limited, man. Okay. He's finite. He's trying to be infinite power with finite resources, with finite understanding. Here it is. The Most High has infinite resources, infinite wisdom, infinite understanding, infinite energy. Okay. And he's trying to replace that with finite resources, finite understanding, finite power. Okay. And it's a gap that he can't close. Oh, man. It's Esau dealing with a gap that he can't close, man. He's just going to have to go for it. All right. He's going to have to just try to jump across the Grand Canyon. You see, at this point, the only thing left is just going to have to try to jump across the Grand Canyon, man. You see, it said his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the King of Terrors, which is Yahweh Shai. Okay, so everything that this devil is doing is bringing him to Yahweh Shai, man. All right, and this coward ass nigga know that, man. The Lord gonna have to put the spirit on this nigga just to have this nigga frustrated to where he come on with it. Because the longer he wait and pity pat, man, he's been called out. Okay, and his his deceptions are wearing off, man. You see, his lying wonders is they getting called out. AI hype, and you got these investigative journalists, breaking it down like this nigga lying, nigga, it can only do this and do that. Which we know at the end of the day, the AI is for governance, okay? But he needs to believe that AI, is this unlimited power to gas, and that's another narrative he needs for people to, bend down and take the see him, to bend the knee and take the see him, okay? But as he sees that's not working on the scale he wants it to work, man, he just gonna have to come on with these crises and mandate this thing, man. Okay, so let's get this first video. All right, I think they're dealing with Ford, and this is happening across, multiple. Let me see. Let me go here. So now this isn't dealing with Ford, but this happening across multiple companies, man, where they're having to hire back, humans. All right, because AI, didn't meet expectations. AI has flaws. Okay. But see, that goes against the narrative of AI just being, this ever learning and this infinite wisdom, and, humans can't compare. And, with us, there's certain things that AI can do, that humans will never be able to do that fast. Okay. But overall, AI is not nowhere near what this nigga hypes it up to be. Like I said, it can do some extraordinary things. You see, don't get it twisted. Okay. But the way that this nigga hypes it up as if AI is on the level with the Most High. Okay. And that's a goddamn lie, man. So let's play this.
Their automaker's warranty and recall costs are going through the roof, and the numbers involved are staggering. Human workers had since been reintroduced. Technology is not remotely ready to be able to do some of these jobs that people are doing.
Covering what the corporate media covers up.
In a huge win for working people, is being replaced with AI. But don't worry, the company is still pushing forward with those economic hunger games. We'll get to that in just a second. I'm JT Siskowski with Status Coup. This is the story from the BBC. Ford rehires human engineers after AI fails to match quality checks. Ford says it has hired back some human engineers after AI failed to match their skills and experience. In a bid to reap the benefits of the tech, which developers claimed can cut costs and boost productivity, the U.S. car maker adopted it across some parts of its operation, including for quality checks. But according to Bloomberg, its executives said the firm has rehired more than 300 veteran quality inspectors in recent years to make up for the pitfalls of automated systems. This from a company that has been so ready to just treat its workers like we were on the ground at the UAW's picket lines back in 2023, and the workers told us about how they were making wages that were on par with what workers at McDonald's were making.
We the big three. We shouldn't be looking at other companies with their pay raise competing against us, and they ain't doing nothing but fast food restaurants, or that's a slap in the face.
Same as McDonald's right now. That's kind of crazy to us.
They come in and they start making more than what we were making now. So that's just
McDonald's workers are basically making the same, if not more, than what you're making.
That's a slap in the face for what we produce, and the company
600 cars a day, or even more than that, and it's like that doesn't even equal up to the pay.
If that kind of on-the-ground journalism lifting up the voices of working people is important to you, go to statuscoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to keep us on the ground doing that important journalism. Well, I also want to bring in the voice here of Ford Motor Company itself. Don't accuse us of bias here at Status Coup News. We'll give a platform to Ford's CEO to speak on exactly his outlooks on AI. He sees it as being a major tool for the company to replace workers. Here he is in his own words.
And when you look at these openings in our economy, it is very clear that all the technology we've seen has left a lot of people behind. AI will leave a lot of white-collar people behind. And we have to acknowledge that these new technologies are great. They'll make a lot of people's lives better, even people in the essential economy. But what are we going to do as a society for the people that it leaves behind, that are valuable humans, that require that for our society, we have to have a plan for sustainment. And we don't have that plan today.
So that's the version of AI that all of these executives from the tech sector down to automotive manufacturing want to believe in. They want to believe that AI can replace all of these pesky workers who want things like salaries and healthcare that are just so annoying to a company's bottom line. There's just one problem.
And then another thing too, they're finding out, all right, that it's becoming more expensive, to use AI in actual workers. Because of the actual costs it takes to run AI, okay, with the energy, the water, okay. So the operating cost of AI, all right, is not even profitable for these companies to use as they're being charged, these tokens, okay. When these tech companies began to forward, all right, the cost of running, AI, and put the token costs on these companies, well, they're losing more money, okay, than when they had human workers, man. So this devil, he's going to have to come with it, man. This AI hype, is falling, it's getting worse. So he's going to have to come on with something else, okay, to persuade the masses, okay, that technocracy is the way, okay, or to just make it so bad to where they want anything. All right, they're willing to take anything just to end the chaos, man. Okay, to end the civil unrest. All right, so let's play a little more of this.
With that, though, the technology is not remotely ready to be able to do some of these jobs that people are doing. And that is exactly why Ford is rehiring these engineers. This is from the BBC again. In an October earnings call, Chief Operating Officer Kumar Galatra said the firm was deploying AI across the entire industrial system. This included rolling out 900 AI-powered cameras in its plants to, quote, detect quality issues at the source and help us mitigate supply disruptions. But a Ford vice president told reporters on Wednesday the firm's AI-driven checks had failed to live up to expectations. Mistakenly, we thought that by just introducing artificial intelligence and ingesting the design requirements that we had, that would produce a high-quality product, he said. Yeah, we would just throw AI into some camera systems and expect it to do the same job as a person. Color me shocked that didn't work out, but it hasn't just not worked out. It's actually been devastating for Ford, who back in 2025 had to issue the most recalls out of any auto manufacturer. This is from CBS News. According to recall data compiled by iCars.com from the National Highway Safety Administration, Ford Motor Company had more recalls in 2025 than any other automaker. The study, published on April 8th, revealed that Ford Motor Company had 153 recalls in the past 12 months. Wow, really sounds like your AI quality assurance system is working there, doesn't it? According to automotive journalist John McElroy, recalls flagging automotive manufacturer roof, and the numbers involved are staggering. This is a global automotive industry problem, McElroy explained.
And the more they use AI, these car companies, the more recalls they're beginning to have. All right, because the AI, they're not efficient on the quality checks, man. They don't care. Okay, these people don't care, man. These companies have made, so much money, and then they got a system that bails them out. Okay, that they don't care, But yeah, man, it just shows you the flaws of AI. Okay, here it is. The more they incorporate AI, the worse quality product that they produce. Okay, so they defeat the whole purpose because, these companies got their, got their wealth in the beginning on making good product. Okay, so now AI is diluting the product. You see, and there's people that have to use AI, that they have become familiar with AI. They see it's limited, it's flawed. Okay, and then these companies, that had hopes in AI, being this major game changer in their productivity and bottom line, they're seeing, they ain't capable of doing, all right, what these tech guys have been hyping it up to do. Okay, so the longer this goes on, man, the more people are jumping off, all right, this this technocracy, all right, with this technology bandwagon. Okay, and why I say you have a lot of people even going to a low tech, what they call a low tech lifestyle. You know, they're going backwards. They're going more, analog. Okay, so things are going backwards for this devil. He's gonna have to come on with it. Now I got another video. Let's play this one.
More Americans are using AI than at any point in history. And more Americans distrust it than at any point in history, at the exact same time, going in opposite directions. This week, Pew Research dropped the most authoritative data we have on this. 44% of US adults now use ChatGPT, up from 18% just last year. Nearly half use AI chatbots broadly, and yet trust in chatbot output has completely stalled at 29%. So usage is exploding. Trust is flatlining or falling. Most people would tell you those two things are in tension. They're not. They are the exact same story. Because nobody's actually anti-fire. Fire cooks your food, warms your home, lit the path of human civilization for hundreds of thousands of years. But if someone keeps lighting fires in your living room and insisting it's for your own good, eventually you stop trusting the person holding, not the fire itself. And right now, the people trapped in that smoke-filled living room are the ones you'd least expect. The people who use AI the most are the ones who hate it the most. That's the paradox. And once you understand why, you'll understand why the public has genuinely turned and why no amount of marketing can fix it. Today, I'm going to walk you through the data, the reason behind the paradox, the catalog of things the industry has actually done to earn this distrust, the tens of millions it's spending to avoid accountability, and the honest answer to the question underneath all of it: is there anything here actually worth saving? Let's get into it. Let's start with the data, because it's striking. Pew published Americans and AI 2026 on June 17th, drawn from a survey of 5,119 US adults with a margin of error of just 1.6 points. This is about as authoritative as US public opinion data gets. 71% of US adults expect AI to weaken their personal data security. 60% now read AI-generated summaries in their search results, whether they want to or not. Across nearly every domain Pew asked about, jobs, education, relationships, creativity, more Americans expect a negative impact than a positive one. But the most striking finding isn't the overall negativity, it's who is the most negative. Gen Z, adults 18 to 29, is the age group most likely to say AI will have a negative impact, with 48% saying the effect on society will be negative. And yet, 66% of them have used a chatbot, up from 55% in 2024, more than any other age group. Read that again. The generation using AI the most is also the generation hating it the most. This adoption and skepticism inversion is the signature pattern of the cohort. And here's why that matters so much. Gen Z isn't scared of technology. They're the most digitally literate generation in human history. They understand this stuff better than any previous generation understood the tech of their era. So this isn't fear, and it isn't confusion. This is informed contempt. They've used the product. They know exactly what it does, what it doesn't do, and the gap between what's promised and what's delivered. They know precisely what they're rejecting. And the older brackets aren't far behind. Roughly half of adults under 30 say AI will negatively impact society, with far fewer, about 14%, saying positive. Adults 30 and older are somewhat less negative, but still skew that way. The pattern is brutal for the industry. The people who've used AI the most are the most hostile. The people who've used it least are the most ambivalent. That is not a pattern marketing can fix. So how do you use something every day and distrust it at the same time? Let me explain the mechanism, because it's the key to everything. The answer is that personal utility and societal concern can coexist. Someone can find a chatbot genuinely useful for drafting an email while simultaneously worrying about AI's effects on employment, privacy, or information quality at the societal level. And here's the part that should really worry Silicon Valley. The tech industry has long assumed that as people use AI more, they'll worry less. Familiarity breeds comfort. The data flatly does not support that. And in some areas, especially AI and employment, the more knowledgeable someone is, the more worried they are, not less. This shows up across every major poll, not just Pew. A Quinnipiac poll found 51% of Americans use AI for research, but only 21% trust AI-generated information most of the time. As the researcher put it, Americans are clearly adopting AI, but they are doing so with deep hesitation, not deep trust. And Gallup found that even among Gen Z daily users, Excitement is down 18 points in a single year, and hopefulness down 11. Now here's the crucial piece the industry doesn't want to hear. Much of this usage is not even voluntary. People are using AI because it's being embedded into the tools they already depend on, their search engine, their email, their workplace software. Globally, 58% of employees report using AI at work, but managers are consistently more enthusiastic about it than the people actually doing the work. People are climbing onto the AI wave out of fear of being left behind, not because they want to ride it. That's coerced adoption, not organic demand. And an industry built on coerced adoption has a structural problem. Once AI is embedded into everything, ripping it out becomes politically, technically, and commercially hard. Users know they're being locked in. The usage numbers aren't a measure of love. In many cases, they're a measure of having no choice. If you want to understand why the public turned, you don't need a poll. You just need to look at what the industry has actually been doing. Let me give you the receipts. The internet is filling with slop. Slop, low-quality, mass-produced, AI-generated content became a word of the year for 2025, and it's not a fringe problem. By some analyses, AI-generated articles now make up over half of all English-language content on the web. The single most important information infrastructure in human history is now majority generated by machines that don't actually understand what they're writing. The forced integrations that nobody asked for. Microsoft pushed its AI assistant into so many products so aggressively that users coined a mocking nickname for it that went viral in early 2026. Microsoft eventually published a quiet mea culpa and started removing the AI branding from apps, renaming AI features to advanced features. Some called it stealth slop. The AI didn't disappear. It just put on a fake mustache and walked back in as Mr. Advanced Innovation. Meta replaced Instagram's search bar with an AI chatbot. Users wanted to search for people and hashtags. Instead, they got a conversational AI extracting interaction data nobody asked for. As a UX expert put it, you believe a search bar does a certain thing, and then suddenly you're talking to a chatbot you never wanted. Meta backtracked. Google's AI overviews told people to put glue on pizza and eat a small rock a day. Those answers went out to millions through the most used search engine on Earth. That's what happens when you pipe unvetted AI output directly into a service billions of people trust. And the workplace failures are piling up. There's the now infamous case of a major bank that replaced customer service staff with an AI voice bot. The bot failed, call volumes surged, managers got pulled back onto phones, and the company had to publicly apologize and offer the workers their jobs back. The union called it a cynical cover for cost cutting. This connects directly to the data. Recent graduates are entering the most difficult job market since the pandemic. Unemployment among recent college grads hit 5.6% in March 2026 versus 4.2% for all workers. And AI is a big part of why. Gen Z workers now trust work done without AI, 69%, far more than AI-assisted work, 28%. They're watching the entry-level jobs they need get automated away, and they're rendering a verdict. And it's not just about jobs. Communities across the country are moving to pass moratoriums on AI data center construction, the physical backlash to match the digital one. This is what the Pew numbers are measuring. Not hostility to technology, hostility to having technology shoved into every product, every workflow, every search result, regardless of whether it's ready, whether it works, or whether anyone asked. So if the public has turned, you'd expect the industry to listen, recalibrate, rebuild trust. Instead, it's doing something else entirely, spending tens of millions to buy the political system that would hold it accountable. Political finance groups linked to major AI companies have reportedly distributed tens of millions of dollars across 2026 midterm campaigns already, a number expected to skyrocket as November approaches. And they're not picking a side. They're buying both. The same companies are funding super PACs aimed at both Republicans and Democrats simultaneously. The logic is simple. Hedge every bet. The political goal is clear. Neutralize anyone who might regulate them. There are already reports of grassroots candidates getting steamrolled in primaries by hundreds of thousands of dollars in AI-linked super PAC money. Imagine explaining to your campaign volunteers that you didn't lose on policy. You lost because a $1 trillion algorithmic lobby decided your political career was an optimization error. And this is happening against a backdrop where the public is begging for exactly the opposite. Pew found Americans are split on trusting the government to regulate AI well. 44% have some trust, 47% have little to none. And the appetite for guardrails is bipartisan. 80% of Americans are concerned about AI, with 70% expecting it to decrease job opportunities, up sharply from 56% just a year earlier. So the public wants oversight. The industry is spending tens of millions to make sure it never arrives. That gap between what people are asking for and what the money is buying is exactly the kind of thing that turns ambient distrust into active resentment. This is what scale without responsibility looks like. These companies have enough money to spend tens of millions on elections, but apparently not enough sense of obligation to the people whose data they train on, whose jobs they automate, and whose search results they're filling with rocks and glue. And here's where that 71% privacy fear stops being abstract and becomes very, very concrete. There have now been numerous documented cases of police officers misusing automated license plate reader camera networks to stalk people. In one Florida case, an officer reportedly ran his ex-girlfriend's plate through the system dozens of times and searched her parents' plates too. Even a colleague noticed and told him to stop. Officers meant to enforce the law were using surveillance infrastructure like a private stalking dashboard, tracking exes, relatives, and acquaintances through systems citizens never consented to. And in many cases, for months, there were no consequences. That's the thing about the privacy fear. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. When 71% of Americans say AI will make their personal information less secure, they're not imagining a hypothetical. They're looking at the actual track record and drawing the only rational conclusion available, and the absurd coda. Some cities that regret installing these camera systems have reportedly resorted to covering them with trash bags because they can't figure out how to cancel the contracts. Trillion-dollar surveillance infrastructure defeated by a 50-cent hefty bag. That's the landscape. An industry that surveils without accountability, spends without restraint, and deploys without readiness. Now I need to be direct about something.
So yeah, man, he going backwards, man. You know, the longer that he's, you know, at this phase, he got to take this thing to another phase. You know, he gonna have to come on with the hammer. He gonna have to come with the crisis and the mandate. Okay, he gonna have to come on with a crisis and a mandate. That's the only thing that's gonna move the needle like he needed, man. Because the way it's going, man, he's just gonna get more and more resistance, man. You know, as people, I'll say, having to deal with it, forced to work with it. Okay, a lot of people, you know, it's saying the AI creating work has made their jobs harder. Okay, they have to spend a lot of time correcting the AI, and you know, but that goes against his narrative that the AI, okay, is God. Okay, so I looked up something else when we were talking about low tech. You know, a lot of people going to low tech lifestyle. So I asked, is low tech lifestyle becoming a trend, and why? I believe we looked it up before. You know, I'm just going to it again. It said, yes, the low tech lifestyle is absolutely becoming a permanent trend, evolving from a temporary digital detox into a permanent cultural shift called analog living or digital minimalism. The movement is unequally driven by Gen Z and millennials who are intentionally trading hyperconnectivity for simplicity rather than completely abandon modern society. People are introducing intentional friction into their routines to regain control over their time, mental wellness, and privacy. Why the low-tech lifestyle is trending? Severe screen burnout and dopamine fatigue. People are physically and mentally exhausted by constant notification, algorithm-driven feeds, and social pressure to be instantly reachable. Moving to low-tech options is a way to go on a dopamine diet, stripping away the endless scroll breaks, all right, the cycle of instant gratification, healing people reduce anxiety, all right, helping people reduce anxiety and reclaim deep, sustained focus. Okay, it said the backlash against artificial intelligence. It says with homes and workplaces flooded by AI assistants, chatbots, and automated algorithms, a distinct counter movement has emerged. People are actively pushing back against technologies that do the thinking, all right, that do the thinking and doing for us. They are intentionally seeking out tactical human-led experiences that AI cannot replicate, man. Okay, so people are going backwards from this man's technology. Now, you still have people that worship this technology. You know, don't get it twisted. You see, but there's a growing, all right, community of people that are running from this technology, man. Okay, and going back to simplicity, man. You see, because like I say, the technology isn't wicked. It's the way that this man, all right, has saturated society with it and his intent of what he wants to do with it, man. Okay, let's see. Yep. So yeah, just you can look it up. Low tech lifestyle. It's a thing now. Okay, and like I say, these city council halls. Mayors are being ran out of city hall meetings. Okay, by people frustrated with these data centers, man. Esau, all right. Like I said, he got to make his move, man. You got to get on the good foot, man. These folks ain't playing with your ass out here, you ain't looking like yourself, man. You see, we need that aggression back on you, man. Okay, you gotta go ahead. Hey, 2nd Ezra 15, a madman sparing none. You gotta spaz out, Niggas ain't feeling you like that no more, man. The streets ain't feeling you like they used to, man. Okay, so you gonna have to spaz out, man. This is Isaiah 31:1. It said, "What sorrow awaits those who look to Egypt for help, trusting their horses, chariots, and charioteers, and depending on the strength of human armies instead of looking to the Lord, the Holy One of Israel." Okay, and this is our people that still trust in this system, man. This system is finna fail, man. It's failing now. Okay, and it was always meant to fail, man. Okay, this nigga don't got it. Okay, as you go to America, Egypt is the modern day America. You see, America is likened to what? Spiritual Egypt, man. But you have some of our people that still trust in this man's system and still look at Esau as a god. Okay, but here it is, the prophets have been raised up, okay, to tell you what it is, thus said the Lord. And you still have a portion of our people, 2/3 to be exact, okay, that's going to trust in Egypt, man, and trust in this system. You see, and they're going to merge with this system, man. You see, and get nuked. Verse 2 says, "In his wisdom, the Lord will send great disaster." Man, the Lord's going to send great disaster in the earth, man. Okay, this war is going to go out of hand. That's another thing. When he mandates the MOPB, okay, the Lord's going to allow the war to get out of hand. Okay, and it's going to turn America into a desert. All right, and it's going to turn you elites into slaves. It says, "In his wisdom, the Lord will send great disaster. He will not change his mind." Yeah, the Lord's mind is made about the fate of Esau, the fate of the system. Okay, you heathens, you go into captivity as well. The Lord's mind is made. And there's a remnant he's getting ready to deliver, man, to be joint heirs with the new kingdom, all right, with a righteous kingdom that's going to be ushered in by Yahushua. It says he will rise against the wicked and against their helpers. Okay, so either you're with, as an Israelite, either you're with Yahushua or you're considered the help of the wicked. You would be considered those helpers, man. If you're not with Yahushua, if you're an Israelite and you're not with Yahushua, you're not of their predestined elect. Okay, well, you're considered the helpers, man. And the Lord's going to rise up against the wicked and against their helpers. Okay, these heathens too, these other nations, these governments, these other nations that are on board with this new world order, all of them finna lose, man. Everybody finna lose outside the elect, man. Okay. Verse 3 says, "For these Egyptians are mere humans and not God. Their horses are puny flesh, not mighty spirits." Okay. And what we're seeing is the Lord showing that Esau is a mere human. He's limited, man. Okay. He's limited as hell. He's regular. He's looking regular as hell out here. Okay. Esau looking ordinary as hell out here, man. Okay. And this is the technology that you think you're going to use, okay, to replace the Most High. Because even the AI that he got that we don't know about, it ain't, because it's only so much it can do. It has a cutoff. Esau ain't tapped into no unlimited power, man. Okay, so even what we ain't seen, it's a limit on it. You see, he's a mere human. You see, he's a mere man. He's a mere mortal that the Most High raised up the power, man. Okay, so it says, "For these Egyptians are mere humans, not God. Their horses are puny flesh, not mighty spirits." when the Lord raises his fist against them, and that fist gonna be Yahweh Shai, their right hand. Okay, and put Esau lights out, man. You see, it said those who help will stumble, and those being helped will fall. They will all fall down and die together. They will all fall down and die together, man. So if you have trust in this man's system, you're going to fall and die with this man in this system, man. Okay, you're going to lose with this man in this system. Okay, and the Lord is already showing us that this nigga is going backwards. All right, go back to Isaiah 44. And the Lord said he was going to start taking this nigga backwards, man. And that plays a part of him knowing he got a short time, man. He know he can't keep going at this rate. He got to change the game. He got to change the tempo. He got to switch up the tempo. You see, this Isaiah 54 and 20, Isaiah 44 and 24. It said, "This is what the Lord says: Your Redeemer and Creator. I am the Lord who made all things. I alone stretched out the heavens. Who was with me when I made earth?" Okay, so the Lord has to remind, all right, creation that He's the Creator. You know, and He raised up the prophets in the last days to remind the world, no, the Lord is the Creator. Okay, Esau is not the Creator. Esau was created. You see, Esau can't replace the Creator. You know, and the Lord is going to embarrass this man and him attempting to do so. Verse 25, I expose the false prophet as liars and make fools, all right, of fortune tellers. I cause the wise to give bad advice, thus proving them to be fools, man. You see? So what we're seeing is the Most High is going to make a fool of this man and expose this man to be a damn fraud, man. Esau is a fraud. Okay? So he was blessed with the sword. He's going to be able to do a lot of unaliving, okay, as he throwing this temper tantrum because the Lord wants that judgment to go forth. He wants mass unaliving, man. Okay? But as far as him trying to be the Most High, the Lord finna make this man look like a goddamn fool, man. He's making him like a fool now. Okay? Verse 26, but I carry out the prediction of my prophets, which our predictions is the prophecies of the Lord. Okay? So it's really not even predictions, a guarantee. You know, and the Lord has the Spirit on us to boldly profess these things. But then I say to Jerusalem, people will live here again, and that's us being redeemed. And the towns of Judah, you will be rebuilt. I will restore all your ruins. So as the Lord is getting ready to deconstruct, okay, and make Esau look like a damn fool, okay, trying to be him, he's getting ready to restore a remnant of his people, man. Okay, back in the power, we finna get new bodies. See, Esau talking about some transhumanism. We finna get new bodies, man. It ain't gonna be nowhere near a transhuman body. Ain't nowhere near the body, the new bodies we finna get, man. These glorified bodies we got, a transhuman body don't even compare, man. Can't even bring it up in the same conversation, man. Okay, so nah, man, we're in a time, you know, of a great change in the earth, man. And the Lord putting the pressure on Esau that he gonna have to come on with it because he going backwards, man. Okay. So he gonna have to downshift that thing, man. You know, and do what he gotta do. And the Lord gonna do what he gonna do. So that's the point, you know, Lord will, you brothers. All right, and you few sisters identified once again, we'll give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Akakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the hopeful Shalom.